Hi again. Jake and I back again for another round. Jake thought you might be interested in a little background about us. Mind you that Jake's background is minimal. He was born on September 30th of 2023 at Nordig, Alberta, which is right near the Rocky Mountains of Alberta. And he came to us on New Year's Eve. Since then, he has learned his name, how to sit, and slowly is learning that potty is to be done outdoors. And recently, he learned how to go down the stairs, which is a big improvement. Maybe he'll start going potty in the garden instead of on the deck. As for me, I share Jake's month of birth, but the year was 1941, and the place was Newport, Rhode Island. Unlike Jake's, my parents' folks were from Europe. My dad from Lithuania and my mom from Portugal. My dad lost his mom when he was 10 years old and spent the rest of his youth in an orphanage in Lowell, Massachusetts. He joined the Navy when he was 17 in 1930. And in 1934, his ship came along with the Atlantic Fleet to a place called Provincetown. Hey, Jake, where you going? He was part of the fleet when they came into my mom's hometown in Provincetown, as I said. Well, my mom's first encounter with my dad was, oh no, not a sailor. That was in 1934, but by 1936 they were married. And I came along 5 years later. When my dad got near his retirement age in the Navy after 20 years, we had been moving around from Newport to San Diego to Philadelphia to New York to Groton, Connecticut. Dad thought I should be in one place, my education in my early years. So, in 1946, he bought my grandmother's house. They renovated it, and I began school that September in Provincetown. Now that is a place to grow up, let me tell you. As far as I'm concerned, it couldn't have been a better place to grow up. It's a mixture of Portuguese and English traditions. The summer is filled with people from around the world. A home of some of America's greatest writers, poets, and artists. A place that drew major actors, comedians, and singers, and TV personalities, where one could dive for coins in the summer and ice boat in the winter. Summers were full of action, and the winters were relaxed and laid back. I left when I was 17 to attend the University of New Mexico in 1959. From that moment on, Provincetown became my summer home, where I earned the income to continue my college education. I would come to Canada in the summer of 1967, and the rest is, as they say in history. From that time on, I evolved into an old fart. So that's a little bit about me and a little bit of Jake. Jake's history is just beginning, and I'm on the tail end of mine. However, from time to time, things come across my mind that I go, One of them was the other day when I read a question that was on Jeopardy. The question was, and nobody got the answer, who was responsible for killing 25% of the world's population? Now, some people put Genghis Khan, some people had Hitler, and there were other answers. But the real answer was Cain. If you think about it, Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel. And when Cain killed Abel, 25% of the world's population disappeared. Now I began to think about that, began to do a little research. And boy, that led a trail. First of all, I always wondered who the heck did Cain marry to get the population going to where we are now. Well, it turns out that Adam lived, for 800 years. And he had more children than just Cain and Abel. In fact, the third son is named Seth. and they had girls. Well, you only have to add 1 and 1 and you get 2. We began with incest. But now scientists are saying that because Adam and Eve were pure, that the initial incestual relationships did not result in any negative genetic material because we dealt with pure. And that got me to thinking about, God, do we learn a lot of things? I remember as a teacher way back in the 1980s and the 90s of putting a line about human knowledge. And the line went from the birth of Christ to 1492, the discovery of North America. Then the second line went from 1492 to 1620. And that human knowledge had doubled in that short period of time from all the knowledge since Christ was born. And each line got shorter and shorter and shorter. And today, we live in a world where less than 6 months, everything we know of today will be doubled 6 months from now. And all you have to do is look at the papers. The Webb telescope has opened up our eyes to outer space. We have now plans. We had a helicopter finally in its last tour on Mars because of a damaged propeller. Helicopter on Mars? I remember way back in the 1950s telling a friend of mine that by the year 2000 we'll have people on the moon. Little did I know that it would happen in a lot less time than that. We are a curious creature, and we end up exploring everything. Every day there's a new archaeological find. And yesterday, there was an announcement that maybe after 80-odd years, they have found Amelia Earhart's plane. It's outstanding. And I, for one, even though I'm 82, and by the end of this year we'll be 83, can't wait to find out what's going to be uncovered in the next 6 months. Just amazing. Anyway, I'm going to leave that with you for today. I hope you enjoyed our little ramble, and we'll talk to you in the near future. Oh, sorry, Jake.